Today we're with David Black. David Black is a criminal defense attorney in Phoenix, Arizona. He's agreed to answer some questions today related to DUI. For those of you who posted them, you'll have your answers here in a minute. If you're watching this video for the first time, you also have the opportunity, if he doesn't hit on the question you have, just post them in the comments below. He'll get back to you with the response. Also, one more thing just to add, if you're in the process right now or looking for an attorney for DUI, from my experience, one of the things you really should look at are customer reviews and client reviews. In the case of David, he has some excellent client reviews. Just take a look at Google, Yelp, Avo. In Avo's case, he has a perfect 10 out of 10 score and a ton of reviews there that you can take a look at. With that said, David, let's go into your first question that was posted. How long does a typical DUI trial last?
Ryan, a trial is the actual event that is the culmination of the entire DUI case. In the case of DUIs, you're entitled to a jury trial, and that trial would take anywhere from 1 day to, say, a week, depending on how long jury selection takes, whether or not and how many experts there are at trial, how many witnesses you have, what the legal issues are, and how long the jury deliberates. Now, a DUI case can take 6 months, a year, or longer, depending on issues that come up, motions that have to be filed, witnesses that have to be compelled to be deposed, etc. So to answer the question, Ryan, I would say an average DUI trial is a couple of days. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, excellent. Next question was, I am a gun owner. How to stand my, excuse me, I said that was the wrong question there. I'm pulling that up. Oh, I'm sorry. Question was, I received a DUI and I had a gun in my car. How is this going to affect my charges?
Ryan, that's a circumstance where, at least in Arizona, I've encountered several times before. Absolutely no impact. Assuming that it's a misdemeanor DUI, which all DUIs are unless there is an injury, accident, prior DUIs, a suspended license, or a minor in the car. So if it's a standard DUI, you're drinking, you made the mistake of driving, you've had the unfortunate experience of encountering law enforcement, in my experience, my clients who immediately disclose, you know what, officer, I have a firearm in the glove box or a firearm somewhere else in the vehicle, it won't affect your charges whatsoever. I've even had people with firearms in their laps have no impact or bearing on the case.
Wow, okay. All right, next question was directly to you. Do you have a fixed cost for DUI charges?
Ryan, we do, but fixed is a little bit of a strong word. It's flexible depending on the circumstances. Currently, we're charging in the neighborhood, and this is without a trial, of $4,000 for regular misdemeanor DUIs, up to about $5,000 or $6,000 for extreme and super extreme DUIs. If they're outside of Maricopa County, we may charge more. If there's an accident, we'll charge more. If it's a second-time DUI, we'll charge more. But for misdemeanors, that's the general ballpark is $4,000 to $6,000, and trial fees generally range from $1,000 to $2,000, depending on how long, how complex, whether it's a bench or jury trial, and whether or not we need to hire an expert.
Okay, all right. Next question we had was, I have an out-of-state DUI and was just recently charged with a DUI in Maricopa County. How is this going to affect my defense?
That's an excellent question. It may or may not affect it. It depends if the out-of-state DUI would have been a DUI in Arizona. We've had cases, for example, out of Florida where individuals had prior DUIs. We were able to show the judge and the prosecutor that in Arizona, because of actually quite a technical difference between the statute here and in Florida, the Florida conviction wouldn't have counted as a conviction, and therefore, at least in that client's case, we were able to substantially reduce what was originally being offered to us, because frankly we weren't looking at an enhanced penalty mandatory at trial. If your conviction out of state would have been a conviction in the state of Arizona and would have occurred within the last 7 years, then it's the same as if it did occur in Arizona, and you're subject to at least, enhanced penalties at trial.
Okay, all right. And the final question we have is, since my understanding is most DUI charges get pleaded out. Why would I need to hire an attorney?
That's a great question and quite a common question. It's also a good question. It's true that most DUIs get pled out. What does pled out or pleaded out mean? It means it results in some sort of guilty plea. It's not true that most DUIs get pled out to the original charge. I comfortably can say that, I believe at least a majority of our cases we're getting some benefit for, and they're not all getting dismissed, and it's unrealistic and untruthful to tell prospective clients, hey, your DUI is definitely getting dismissed unless there's some great obvious legal issue in the case. But Ryan, what is true is that if you can afford it, it certainly is something that one should do to make sure that every stone is looked beneath, no stones go unturned, and that you know what you wouldn't otherwise know. You know if you're getting a good deal, you know how to get a better deal, and you actually have a credible trial threat. One of the ways in which, at least in certain jurisdictions, we seem to get better deals or dismissals is by threatening a trial and pushing it to trial, and as things get close to trial, things tend to fall apart, and it's not a guarantee. So, what I tend to tell people is, look, if you can't stomach the fact that you might still get stuck with the DUI after hiring a lawyer, don't hire a lawyer. Just take the DUI, pay the fines. If you have the money or you need a chance, you have to hire a lawyer. So it's two different ways of looking at it, but the negative connotations are accurate. They're very, very difficult cases to win. What I like to tell people is that if anybody can do it, I can do it, but they're certainly not all winnable. So
Right.
all you can hope for is you find somebody who's going to do their best for what you paid them to try to get you out of it. If they can't, to try to reduce it, and if they can't, to give you some peace of mind that every single thing's been done for you.
Okay, excellent. Well, for the people watching, I want to thank you for your time. If you have questions for David, just post them in the comments below. You can also visit his website or give him a call directly. He does offer free consultations. With that said, David, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ryan. And anybody watching here, feel free to call. Just ask to talk to me, and I'd be happy to answer any questions free of charge. Thank you.